Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Today we're going back in time to uncover a period that truly transformed South Africa, the Mineral Revolution. We're using your notes to unpack how the discovery of first diamonds and then gold didn't just lead to a mining boom, but really reshaped the nation's future in profound ways.
And it's about so much more than just mining. This is about a complete societal shift, about power dynamics, exploitation, and yeah, the consequences of those changes, which we're still dealing with today.
Exactly. So let's set the stage. It's 1867, South Africa's this quiet agricultural backwater, and then bam, diamonds are discovered, and suddenly the country becomes a global hotspot.
A hotspot, yeah, but not for vacation. This is about opportunity, or at least the perception of it. Everyone wanted a piece of the diamond rush, which meant that the need for labor just exploded.
Okay, so we have this massive demand for workers. What did that look like on the ground?
Well, you saw this huge influx of migrant labor, people traveling vast distances, many from neighboring countries, all hoping to strike it rich, or at least earn a decent living.
And I'm guessing those hopes often crashed into a pretty harsh reality.
You got it. The conditions in those early mining compounds were just atrocious, absolutely shocking. Disease ran rampant. Pneumonia was a death sentence for many. It's difficult to comprehend the scale of suffering and loss of life.
It's just heartbreaking to imagine. And then at some point, we see a shift, right? The closed compounds emerge.
Yeah.
Was that some kind of a moral awakening from the mine owners, a move towards more humane treatment?
Ugh. I wish it were that simple. It was less about worker well-being and more about control, pure and simple. See, there was this rampant problem of what they called illicit diamond buying IDB.
Okay, what was that about?
Basically, workers, desperate to improve their situation, were secretly pocketing diamonds, smuggling them out, and selling them on the side. Of course, that cut into profits, and the mine owners weren't having it.
So the closed compounds were a way to...
Control the workers. Think about it.
Mm.
These folks left their homes, traveled miles for a better life, only to end up basically imprisoned, their movements restricted, their lives under constant scrutiny.
It really exposes the power imbalances at the heart of this whole mineral boom. And from what I understand, things only get more complicated as we move forward in time.
Oh, you said it. And speaking of moving forward, get ready for another twist in our tale, because we're about to hit the gold rush.
Welcome back, listeners. Last time, we dug into the early days of South Africa's mineral revolution. We saw how diamonds brought a rush of migrants and harsh conditions in those mining compounds. But hold on tight, because the story's about to get even wild.
Oh yeah, buckle up, because we're about to hit 1886, and that's when gold enters the scene in a big, big way.
Witwatersrand.
Right.
The notes mentioned something about veins upon veins of gold being discovered there.
Exactly. It was like striking gold fever on steroids, an absolute frenzy. Everyone wanted in on the action.
Okay, but I've got a question about the gold itself. Why was it so sought after back then? I mean, yeah, it's pretty and rare, but it's not like people were using it to buy groceries, right?
You're right. It wasn't just about aesthetics. Gold, especially back then, was deeply tied to global economics. Think about it. This was the era of the gold standard.
Ah, the gold standard.
Yeah.
Remind us about that again.
So many countries at the time linked their currencies to their gold reserves. It was like a measure of a nation's wealth and influence.
The more gold you had, the more powerful you were on the world stage. I get it. No wonder the discovery in Witwatersrand caused such a stir.
It sent shockwaves through the global economy, for sure. And just like with the diamonds, that hunger for gold meant a huge surge in the demand for labor, except this time.
It wasn't just about surface-level mining anymore, was it?
Exactly. This is where we see the rise of deep-level mining. A technological feat for sure, but also incredibly dangerous for the workers.
The notes mentioned mines going as deep as 3 kilometers into the earth. Can you imagine the conditions down there?
Brutal is an understatement. Temperatures soaring to 60 degrees Celsius, dust everywhere.
Leading to silicosis, that awful lung disease, right?
Exactly. The conditions were horrendous. Your notes mention miners using songs and chants as a way to cope with the hardship.
Music as solace in the face of such danger. It's both heartbreaking and inspiring.
It really is. But the human cost of this mineral revolution, it went far beyond those brutal conditions.
And that's what we're going to dig into when we come back. We'll explore how this relentless drive for gold, for profit, completely reshaped South Africa's social fabric. And we're back for the final leg of our journey into South Africa's mineral revolution. We've seen the discoveries, the exploitation, the human cost, and even those glimmers of resistance. And now it's time to confront the legacy of this tumultuous period. We left off talking about the rise of trade unionism.
Which, it's easy to romanticize those early labor movements.
Right, but it was more than just people banding together and hoping for the best. They were drawing inspiration from successful movements abroad.
Absolutely. They saw how collective bargaining could shift the balance of power, how a united front could actually force those in charge to listen.
Of course, it was still incredibly risky and progress was slow, but it marked a turning point.
From individual acts of defiance to something more organized, more strategic.
And that takes us to 1910 and the formation of the Union of South Africa. It sounds on the surface like a happy ending, right?
Ah, if only history were so simple. It's one of those bittersweet moments, you see.
Because while it unified the nation on paper,
It also served to solidify the very divisions that the Mineral Revolution had exacerbated.
so instead of ushering in an era of equality,
It laid the groundwork for decades of segregation and disenfranchisement under apartheid. It's tragic, really.
a nation forged in the fires of a mineral boom, but built on a foundation of inequality. That about sums up this whole period, doesn't
That
it?
does make you think, though.
It does. This whole deep dive has been a stark reminder that progress isn't a straight line. It's messy, full of contradictions, and the echoes of the past, they reverberate through time.
And understanding those echoes, that's how we make sense of the present.
And hopefully, build a better future. So as we wrap up our journey through South Africa's mineral revolution, let's carry these stories, these lessons with us. Because by remembering the struggles, the resilience, the human cost of progress, maybe, just maybe, we can avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.